it led me to where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cause I can relate. Way back when, once upon a time, I was making music and I was making beats on the same demo version of FL Studio.
The demo crazy because on the demo you can't save it. So once you start it, you got to finish that beat, or if you exit out the program, you're gonna lose it.
Exactly. Right. I remember all that, man. So like, what besides that, like, what were some of those other like mistakes that you were making like early on with the production and like talk about the journey like coming along?
I would say it took me a while to really know how to become a producer. And what I mean by that is like, it's a lot of beat makers in the world, but do you really know how to go in the studio with an artist and produce? So early on, I felt like being that I could just make a beat, I felt like that was the end all be all. But at the same time, I was so young, I didn't really have nobody around me that really knew, the real business side of the music game. So I was just moving just like a young kid, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was just happy to know how to make beats. The first person that did a song, well, actually, shouts out to my brother Swayze, baby. He was the artist that I started working with back in South Georgia who really stamped me on the production side. Me and him had been working for years, and throughout his strongest wave back in South Georgia, I did a lot of his most notable records. So once I started working with him, and I seen how once we started moving around, we had a pretty big buzz down that way. So it showed me how I was really supposed to be moving as a young producer, knowing how to conduct business with people, knowing how to really talk to people when it comes down to trying to get moves and stuff executed. Because I was real green to a lot of that stuff. I just knew how to make beats. I didn't know nothing about anything else outside of that. So it was a lot of trial and error that took place, but I don't regret any of it, you know what I'm saying? Because if it's something that you're really passionate about, then all the mistakes that can come along the way, then you can learn from it. Yeah. So I just took all of my shortcomings and just turned them into lessons.
I kind of want to get your thoughts on the, the type beat, kind of era that's kind of going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a, original question. It ain't real from nowhere, but like, kind of want to ask the producer, like, what do they think about, the artists getting, the influence and the recognition besides the producer,
Well, I think it kind of comes with the territory. Especially if you're like an up-and-coming producer like myself, you got to realize that when you're moving up in the ranks, then of course, if you're an up-and-coming artist or producer, then you may not receive the credit that you feel like you should be receiving, but it comes with time. Because a big part of the game is consistency. Whenever you get your first big record, it's like, okay, people will start to know who you are, but can you repeat that 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 times? So I feel like the more consistent that you become, that's how you build your respect amongst your peers. And ultimately, that's when once you get to a certain point, you'll become a household name. So I can use a lot of the other producers that's popping right now. I'm sure when they first got their first hit, people knew them, but they became who they are through consistencies. Like, for instance, somebody like Metro Boomin. Like, we knew Metro when one of his first biggest placements was Karate Chop, Future. But I mean, after Karate Chop, Metro hit us with countless other bangers. So he became a household name. His brand expanded way larger than what it was when he first came on the scene. And then to piggyback on your other part of the question about the whole quote-unquote type beat thing, I don't really have no problem with it, man, because at the end of the day, I feel like every producer does it to a certain extent. They may not actually, when they present beats to an artist, they may not actually say, oh, this is a such and such type beat, but they probably were inspired by whatever the artist was that they were thinking about when they made the beat. I mean, I do it myself. I may not say it, but a lot of the people that I'm listening to at the moment, those are the people that I have in mind when I'm making the records. So by default, that particular beat may be a such and such type beat. So I mean, I feel like it's something that everybody does. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If it's a hard beat, it's a hard beat. Somebody gonna get on it if it's hard enough. I feel like you gotta get in where you fit in. So,
do you feel pressure, like regionally, it's trends, like Northeast, it's that drill, Midwest is, is more so drill, but kind of like West Coast influence.
Right.
West Coast got his wave, and down south we down here. Do you feel pressure to, kind of, go in that direction with it?
Not really, bro. I just try to make good music. So whether the record has a southern feel, a up north feel, a west coast feel, if it's a good record, it's a good record. Cause I'm a strong believer, especially like with how powerful social media is today. You can be from Cordell, where I'm from, but that don't necessarily mean that's where you have to pop at first. Now, in my opinion, because if you have a good social media following, then you can be from Georgia, but you may have people in California that's vibing with your music way harder than the people are where you from. So I don't feel pressure at all, man, because I'm trying to touch all bases. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to touch Georgia. I'm trying to touch the West Coast. I'm trying to touch the East Coast.